What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and in today's video, gonna hop back into Yankee Universe and recap the series against the Mets. The Yankees end up splitting, and that's a series split like it has been the past number of years. We'll go through, break down the games, talk key takeaways, what's up, Doc, and ultimately who's on deck per usual. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. As well, don't forget to subscribe if you are new to not miss out on any Yankees content coming throughout the rest of the season. So, as you always should, we'll start with game number 1. The Mets end up taking this one by a score of 9-3. Domingo. We'll talk a little bit more about him in key takeaways, but does not really look good in this one at all. 6 innings, he does go 6, but 7 hits, 6 runs. He does end up punching out 9, but the mistakes were big. He ends up giving up 3 home runs in this one. The Polar Bear, Pete Alonso, he goes deep twice. Been killing my fantasy team the last 2 weeks, and of course he does it against the Yankees. He goes deep for a 3-run shot and a solo shot, so 4 RBIs for him. And the last talking point here, and we'll talk a little bit more about it as well in the key takeaways, but Ron Marinaccio has really been struggling. He ends up surrendering 2 runs here, albeit it is late in the game, so was a little bit out of hand at this point, but just tough to continue to see Ron struggling. And we'll move on to game number 2. Just a 2-game series here after 2 earlier in the season against the Mets. But in the second game, the Yankees end up taking this one by a score of 3-1. Carlos Rodon on the bump. He gets his first W in pinstripes. Tons of emotion from him. A lot of it positive and great to see a awesome reaction from the fans. As he leaves the field, he goes 5 2/3. Gives up 4 hits, 1 run. He does end up walking 3, so still some troubles there for him, but he strikes out 4, and don't want to harp on the walks too much. Overall, he looked pretty good. Did get hit hard, but ends up getting the job done, and definitely an improvement over the last few starts. The Yankee offense ends up getting it done in this game with some small ball. No home runs in this one for the Yankees or the Mets. But the Yankees able to manufacture some runs and, hold on with just 3. The bullpen pitched really well in this game. We'll talk a little bit more about them in the key takeaways as well. But the big horses come in and get the job done. And the last talking point here, Harrison Bader goes 3 for 4. Good to see him have a nice day at the plate and hopefully find some good rhythm over the next few weeks where we have some pretty important games. Talking about some of the key takeaways from this series, this mini-series. Carlos Rodon, the first one, he gets his first W in the Bronx. Again, just to recap his night, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 4 Ks, and he did get into a little bit of trouble, but at the same time was able to work out, and was really great to see the positive emotion from him. You can tell that he really cares, and obviously the blowing the kiss thing was a massive mistake, but it happens. Obviously, he's a very emotional guy. In the heat of the moment, you never know sort of what those reactions may end up being, but a much better start from him, and great to see him get the first W in front of the home crowd. The second key takeaway to talk about is that the Yankees have sort of figured out the back end of the bullpen. They solidify the horses that they want to run with, and ultimately where guys tier throughout the game and in the pecking order in the bullpen. So, like I was mentioning, talking about it in Game 2, the Yankees end up going to Michael King for just that 1 out to close out the 6th inning. We'll talk about him in a minute, but you see the big guys. You come in with Wandy in the 7th, Tommy Kahnle, who looked, Wandy and Tommy both looked phenomenal last night, or Wednesday rather, recording this on Friday. They both looked really good and had their plus stuff going for them, and ultimately going to Clay in the back end to shut things down. He continues to look really good, but we're definitely starting to see Michael King's role, which we've sort of seen throughout the season, but as we continue to get into these games, it just looks like he's not going to be the most high leverage guy. Yes, he will come into some big spots throughout the rest of the season, but I think ultimately they're looking to use him as sort of like a 2-inning guy, more of a bulk guy to pair with a great start. So let's say Garrett Cole goes and he pitches 7. Yankees see that as a great opportunity to put in Michael King, try and throw those 2 innings and, sort of not really use any arms in the bullpen, a good rest day for them, as I know a lot of these guys have been overused a fair amount up until this point. I wouldn't say overused, but definitely used a fair amount and sort of get the innings off of the same guys over and over again. So good to see that figured out, and the back end is pitching really well. It's just where some of the guys in the middle, some of the bridge guys are, that we'll have to see where the pecking order sort of lies. Our third key takeaway, like I'd mentioned, talking about Game 1, Domingo sort of lost his spot here in the rotation. We know that Nestor Cortez is coming back around the first week of August. That's when he is eligible to come back from the 60-day IL. So Domingo may, he'll probably get another start. Would be curious to see if we get maybe a Brito start in there, or just sort of what happens. I don't think Devi is going to come up. But at the same time, his stuff just has not been good. He's been giving up a ton of runs, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me to see him sort of stick on this roster for a little bit. Obviously, the Yankees are going to be in a tough spot in terms of their 26-man. Obviously, Domingo does not have any options remaining, so with Clark Schmidt already having hit his career high in terms of innings, may still see Domingo try and steal a start here and there. Not really sure exactly what his trade value in terms of his interest from other teams would look like, but obviously he was perfect this year, so you never know. If you're able to clean up some of those mistakes, he has pitched well in portions of the season, so have to see sort of what happens with him, but don't expect him to be a key piece moving forward, a week from now, sort of when we get Nestor back. I think he's going to be the guy that ends up getting bumped out. And finally, our last key takeaway, again, I mentioned it in Game 1, but Ron Marinaccio really has a problem right now. He is not throwing well at all. He's not coming into high leverage spots. Yes, he looked well last year and thought that he could be a nice bridge guy for the team and really a pleasant surprise sort of coming out of nowhere, but in July, he's been awful. I mean, there's no reason to sugarcoat it. So far in July, as we wrap up, it's the 28th, so it's a pretty complete sample size for, the month, but he's gone 8.1 innings, a 9.72 ERA, which is absolutely brutal. He's given up 9 runs on 3 homers, and he's also walked 9. I think he struck out 8 as well. So he's just not getting it done. And I was a big Rodon fan last year, and even the beginning of this year, I thought he could be a pretty valuable piece for the team, but it's really been a difficult year for him, and July has been the worst. So like I mentioned, when Nestor comes back, roster spots are going to be at a premium. Jonathan Loaisiga, who we'll talk about here in a minute as well, coming back potentially in the next week or so in accordance with his 60-day. So Ron's in trouble, and he might be losing his spot here, in the bullpen, and we'll have to see how he's able to potentially contribute in the future. Moving on to What's Up, Doc. Aaron Judge, the captain, the big man, 99. He is planned to rejoin the team in Baltimore. The Yankees have been really hesitant to say anything as he continues to work through and try and figure out the pain management aspect of it. He did mention that he is not going to be 100% this year. It's very much a feel thing, and I think the Yankees obviously respect that, and that is why we haven't had too many updates in terms of his return to play. But the team desperately needs this, and if we're going to do anything this season, it all starts with 99, and obviously I want him back as soon as possible, but I also want him to be as healthy as possible in order to do that. So if he does end up coming back, I tried to hold off on posting this until Friday, hoping to hear some news. It's 1 o'clock now, so sort of had to shit or get off the pot in terms of making the video. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that he's back. You guys can flame me in the comments if he's not, but a massive sort of move for the Yankees, and good to have 99 back. The second guy that we're going to talk about is Nasty Nestor. He is going to make another rehab start in AA Somerset tonight. Really a shame I haven't been able to get to any of these rehabs recently for the Yankees. Again, I won't be able to make it to this one, but we'll see what he's going to be able to get up until. Hopefully he's able to pitch, at least into the fourth inning, if not complete four. I think would be a big step for him. Like we'd mentioned before, his expected return is sort of that first week of August, and that's in accordance with his 60-day, so looks like he remains on track to be able to do that, and hopefully his stuff plays well. Obviously it's AA, but the Yankees, for their pitchers, have preferred to send everybody to AA, which is kind of interesting, so we'll have to see. But he's looked really good, and looking forward to seeing a stat line and highlights from tonight's game. And lastly, we'll talk about Johnny Lasagna. Jonathan Loaizaga. He faced Aaron Judge in Tampa 2 days ago now, so on Wednesday, and the time frame is sort of a question mark right now. I think he continues to look really good. The Yankees have been raving about how he has been throwing. I believe that his 60-day return date is August 3rd, so that would be the first day that he is eligible to return. I don't see any reasons with no setbacks. I don't see any reason why he would not come back sort of on that day. An electric arm that's been, really in the mix for those highly contested moments, those really high leverage spots. So it would be a great addition to have him back. And again, the Yankees have been saying he's been throwing well and, could be a really massive contributor to this team. And finally, we will talk who's on deck. Massive stretch here coming up for the Yankees over the next week plus. Tonight, we start off a 3-game set with Baltimore. Obviously, the team that is in first place in the AL East. So, anything in division for us is going to be incredibly important. Obviously, we're in last place right now by a hair, but everybody's played really well, and any ground that we're able to make up sort of in the division against division opponents is going to be big, especially for the wild card. Starting with Garrett Cole tonight, so hopefully we're able to get off on a good foot and start this series with a win, and hopefully, bring a little momentum to these other two series. After Baltimore, the Yankees travel home to face the Tampa Bay Rays in a 3-game set. Again, the Rays have sort of been our boogeyman the last few years, and it would be great to see us take care of business, especially at home. And again, just another really important divisional series. And after that, and again, no days off, so this will be 10 games in a row in 10 days for the Yankees. But after the Rays, we will host the Houston Astros for 4 games. Everybody knows the importance of this. We all hate the Astros, those cheating SOBs, but it's going to be really important in this series because as of right now, the Rangers continue to play really well in the AL West, so the Astros are in the wild card picture with some of their injuries as well that they've had throughout the year. This 4-game series is going to be really big for wild card positioning. Even if we're able to split or, hopefully win the series, that would be massive in terms of just sort of stacking wins and doing so against the teams that are ahead of us and sort of leverage our position in the wild card race. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys took away from this Yankees-Mets mini-series. And looking ahead, what does the future look like for this New York Yankees squad? Obviously, I talked about Big 99 returning to the lineup potentially and the next few games ahead. So definitely an important, 10 days, 2 weeks or so for the Yankees. So look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. This has been your boy Frankie Bones, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.